Rec, Rec League podcast. Tell your friends and your neighbors. Tell your family and your haters. Available on Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Good Pods, Pocket Cast, Breaker, and Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. At Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 179. Coming soon. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? So I just watched 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. It stars Ray Fiennes, Alfie Williams, Jack O'Connell, Aaron Kellyman, Emma Laird, Sam Locke. Is that his name? And it is directed by Nia DaCosta, who has previously directed the 2021 Candyman, The Marvels, most recently Hedda on Prime with Tessa Thompson. I'm going to assume, at least 10 minutes have passed since the end of 28 Years Later, because the Jimmies are with Spike in a new location, and they are just terrorizing. And the Ray Fiennes character is doing some really interesting stuff. Last January, 28 Years Later, was one of my most anticipated movies of 2025. It didn't let me down, but I didn't love it. And because, and I don't want to continue, every 28 Years Later thing that I do, I don't want to keep going into Danny Boyle hating on The Walking Dead, and then 28 Years Later felt like The Walking Dead. This feels like 28 Years Later, but I liked it a little more. Maybe I was used to the tonal shift. What just clicked before, 10 minutes before I started recording this. In 28 Years Later, 28 weeks later, every 5 minutes, you're just uncertain. There's so much tension. You just can't know which characters are going to survive. In 28 Years Later, in the Bone Temple, I didn't have concern for any human in this movie, because the zombies are secondary. The infected have become, decoration. So, yeah, you can still get attacked, you can still get bit. There's some cool cuts and edits. There was one edit that made me jump up to the fucking ceiling. I'm not gonna lie. So, there's that. There's, if a horror movie makes me jump, I instantly like it. And I did like this. But that's what I'm talking about. In all of Danny Boyle's Walking Dead hating since 2010, he's brought back his zombie franchise and made it feel like The Walking Dead. But that's what I'm talking about. All the Jimmy shit I still think is stupid. I'm used to it, but I didn't I just didn't like it. I know there are shitty people in the world, and when resources and just life is deplenished and shit, shitty people are going to become shittier, and that's what the Jimmy Teletubby gang are. And they introduced these religious subplots and undertones that I was not a fan of. And it took them explaining it in the movie for it to even click to me. But that wasn't for me. Everything Ray Fiennes was doing was interesting as hell. Everything. I'm not, if he's on screen, I'm locked in. And then, the subplot I loved and the subplot I didn't like at all, they overlap. And you got Spike, and how he left the last movie and what he's doing here, it's a direct ripple effect. So that you're waiting for him to see what's going on, and he's him and Ray Fiennes are the only connecting fibers from 28 Years Later. And they don't mention anything with Aaron Taylor Johnson or Jodie Comer or where he came from. And that's cool, though, because you don't want the new sequel to completely rely upon the last movie. Like, this movie does feel like its own thing, but you need to have seen 28 Years Later to get it. As the fourth movie in a franchise, hopefully you've seen the first three. While I liked this movie, I didn't love this movie, and I think it's a little better than 28 Years Later. It's a third movie is set up that could be very cool, because this was originally announced as a 3-movie thing. It's weird. Like, this franchise has become weird to me. Why didn't we ever get months? Why didn't we ever get 28 months later? And then, is it kind of like the Tom Holland Spider-Mans? Like, is it all three of those movies are like one prequel, one long 6-7 hour long prequel for his character? So are all three 28 Years Later's movies supposed to be like one interconnected, just 28 years later story? And then 28 decades later, 28 centuries later, 28 millennia later. I'm talking shit. I'm just goofing off. Yeah, like, acting was good, story was good. There is just like a subplot that I just wasn't a fan of. It's not for me. If you like it, you might love the movie. But I'll tell, like, I hope, I don't know how it's possible, but I hope that in the next one, what Ralph Fiennes was doing can be expanded upon. So with all that being said, man, I will say that in my opinion, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple was almost dope. Have you seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, man? What you think? Positive, negative, somewhere in between? Let me know. I recently put up reviews for Primate, Greenland 2, Blu-ray collection update, most anticipated movies. Next weekend, the plan is to watch and review Mercy with Chris Pratt. A movie that I thought looked stupid during the first trailer, but subsequent trailers locked me in. And then the week after that, I believe Send Help comes out, and possibly a Jason Statham action vehicle. Shelter? I never remember the title. Rec League Podcast. We might record tomorrow, but I don't have a topic. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me. Watch these credits. Peace.